Today, we are going to go through two of the most commonly used principles in market structure, and that is BOS and CHOCH. What it is, what it isn't, how we do it differently, why we do it differently based on mathematics that I'm going to show you, and why our version at FTR is better than the standard SMC version that you'll find all over the internet. Now, in order to learn about BOS and CHOCH correctly, I think that there are four things that you need to consider. Number one is market structure. You need to have rules around how you see the market structure. We're just going to have a quick look at a basic chart, and then we're going to jump into number two. So looking at this blank chart, I could ask you, where is the key market structure? Okay, so that is going to depend on the style of trading that you have. Whether or not you are a bank, whether or not you are trading support and resistance, SMC, FTR, like how I trade, or any other form of trading. Where do you see the structure? A lot of people will see that there's a lot of supply in the market over here, a lot of consolidation. You'd also say that this is the high of the chart. This is the low of the chart. There's potential structure down here. There might be some support down here, resistance up there, but it depends entirely on how you trade. Now I'm going to tell you the rules of how we trade at FTR, which is why our method of using structure is phenomenal. Your directional bias rules, they are absolutely essential to your trading because it stops confusion and it helps you get into positions and hold them to where they need to be. So again, let's look back at that chart and I'll mark it up exactly how we do at FTR, and I'll talk you through those rules. So here we are looking at that chart again, but using the FTR methodology. We're currently looking at the M15 chart, which is the primary time frame which we use to take our trades on. And we trade largely in the same direction as the higher time frame, which is to the M15, it is the H4. So what we have marked out is the H4 BOS, which is right up at the top over here. And then we have the H4 CHOCH, which is all the way down here at the bottom. And then on the M15, on our current time frame, which we're looking at, we have M15 BOS over here and M15 CHOCH down here. So generally speaking, we only want to be taking buys. We don't want to be taking sells. And the reason for that is that you want to be going in the same direction as the higher time frame. The higher time frame, even though this is a massive pullback at the moment, the higher time frame is indicating, based on previous price action, that the market is going up. Another explanation behind that is the aggression to move up was a lot quicker than it's taken to come back down. And then you've got the directional rules. The rules are we follow BOS. Now, the key part of this video is understanding BOS and CHOCH. Exactly what is it, what does it look like, and what do we look for on the charts? Now at FTR, we do things slightly differently than in standard SMC, and it is based around liquidity and market direction. We use statistics, which is number 4, in order to aid that decision. So I'm going to go through the rules of what we follow at FTR, how BOS and CHOCH is different, and we're also going to look at exactly what to look for in order to get BOS and CHOCH. So let's go through BOS first, as it's a little bit more simple. BOS simply stands for a break of structure. So I'm gonna just draw here quickly what it will look like using a line chart, and then we're gonna jump into the actual chart to show you exactly what we would be looking for in order to achieve a BOS. So with any trading chart or demonstration, there has to be a starting point. So we're just gonna start here. As you move along, price may go up or down, and we're going to form a high. On the very next candle, what we're going to do is we're going to create a pullback. Now, what we're left with here is we've got a starting point, which we're going to class as the low. Okay, so we've got the low over here, and we have a high over here. Just to recap, we have a low, we have a high, we have a pullback. Now, in order to achieve a break of structure, what we're looking for is a break of that previous high. So we may have candle 1 up, candle 2 down, candle whatever to break up above the high, therefore breaking the structural high and creating a new structure. So in order to follow it on the chart, what we have is a new high being formed over here, and we have a new low being formed over here. You can discard the old low or you can monitor it. We tend to discard it after a certain point in time. But generally speaking, you need that break of structure. I'm gonna show you a downward market move as well. So here we are again with a starting point. Price moves down with candle 1. Candle 2 is a pullback. And then candle 3 is a break of the previous structure, okay? So we've got, in this instance, the high is over here, the low is down here, we have the pullback leg, and then we have the break down to break the low, which is the break of structure. Okay, really simple. Now, opposing BOS, we have CHOCH, which is otherwise known as a change of character. It's a standard SMC term, which is all over the internet, and all what it means is a potential trend change. Okay, so in order to determine that, you just have a 4-part trade. What we're gonna do, again, is we're just gonna demonstrate here, and then I'm gonna show you on the charts. Let's just get our starting point in an upward trend. So we have a start, we have a move higher, then we have a pullback. So in order for us to get BOS, we need to break upwards. So we get a break of that high. And then for us to get CHOCH, we need to get a break lower than the low. Okay, so what that's showing you is that there is momentum being pushed for downside. Okay, so the market was pushing up, and then we've had a change of character, a change of sentiment, a change of direction, pushing the market lower. Okay, now if we do a upward trend CHOCH, okay, so the market starts off over here, we have a press down, we have a pullback, we have the break of structure, the BOS, and then in order for us to get CHOCH, the change of character, we need to break this new high, and there we go. Really, really simple. CHOCH is just a market direction change potential. So here we are back at our chart, and what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate what it is that we require in order to achieve BOS and CHOCH on both of the time frames. First of all, we're going to look at the higher time frame because that is following still at the moment traditional rules of BOS and CHOCH. Then we're going to look at the M15 and see how the rules of FTR vary compared to standard SMC, because it is already demonstrating on the chart the difference. But for 99% of people, you won't know. But we will back that up with stats in a moment. So here we are looking at the H4. It's exactly the same charts. And what we're gonna do is we are going to follow the standard path structure, which we were doing when it was just using the demonstration tool. So let's work our way up. All right, so we had a push up, a pull back. We had a break of structure right here. We had another press down. Okay, so we had a potential CHOCH there. And then we CHOCHed up again. We created BOS up there, so the high goes over here, and we are right now on a very deep pullback. So generally speaking, what we're looking for is we're looking to take a trade deep into that pullback and push it towards BOS. In order for us to get CHOCH instead, we would need to get a press down and break lower than this previous low. So the H4 CHOCH needs to be broken in order for us to then be able to flip the market and make our new low the BOS. The CHOCH goes up at the top, and when we get our pullback eventually, we know that the pullback should, statistically speaking, be temporary. We should look for a trade set up somewhere within there and press down towards BOS. So here we are back on the M15 chart, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through on a pathway tool to show you how BOS and CHOCH has formed, and also demonstrate exactly how the FTR rules are very slightly different to the SMC rules. Then we're going to back it up with our stats shortly after. First of all, let's get the pathway tool on and demonstrate what has happened. So we've had a press down. So BOS was down here and we had a pullback. And then we BOS down again, we had a pullback. Then we BOS down again, and then a pullback. Then BOS down again, pullback, BOS down again. And then what's happened is price has pulled back. We've created CHOCH because we broke that previous high, and then we've pressed down into our pullback leg, and then we've pushed up again, which is what the market's meant to do. And then we've had an internal break, which is fine, so ignore that just for the moment. And then we have actually had, in the end, a break lower than the previous CHOCH, okay? So that should mean, according to SMC rules, that BOS should be where our M15 CHOCH is. Now, the rule difference which we've got at FTR is that if we break with a wick, it may well be a sweep. And that means a sweep on liquidity should provide accelerated power to break back upwards in this example. Now, we'd noticed that happen a lot over the last couple of years, and we wanted to capitalize on staying in the correct direction for the market. So in this instance, what we had was an equal low. So if we come to here and we check up here, it says 1.08760, and then we get to this blue candle here, and it's exactly the same. And then what we have is we actually have a lower low with this white candle, but it's only with a wick. So all what we do is we had CHOCH over there, and because we didn't get a body break below, and we ended up just getting a wick break, we just move our CHOCH along, because all what we want to see in order to achieve CHOCH correctly is we want to see momentum. Okay, so momentum is absolutely critical to all forms of trading, especially when you're looking at trend changes. What we're looking for is a convincing breakdown below the CHOCH line in order to form CHOCH for us. So in this instance, for us at FTR, we are wanting a break lower than here. And if we don't, if price just presses up, we continue as usual with BOS, and that can happen with a wick. So it doesn't need to be with a body, it could just be with a wick. Now for the added extra, which I didn't mention at the start, but if you've watched this far, congratulations. This is your bonus. There will be a bit of confusion as to what happens when you break an H4 structure with an M15 candle. So what I mean by this is, what if the M15 comes down and closes right here below the H4? Does that mean that the H4 has CHOCHed in this instance? The answer is absolutely not. It has created a wick. It will show the wick on the H4, but if the H4 closes back within this range, then that means that the H4 CHOCH basically just moves to that new level, and then we just need to wait until we get a confirmation. So the FTR rules are a little bit different from standard SMC, and that is purely based on maths. So I'm going to look at the stats that we gathered from last year on our percentage chances of BOS and CHOCH occurring. Now looking at the results for the standard SMC structure of using BOS and CHOCH on the H4, these results were gathered from between January 1st, 2023 to August the 12th, 2023. So in total, there should have been 123 BOSs or CHOCHs on the H4. Now the total BOS was 81 times, the total CHOCH was 42 times. So it was 66 and 34. Now BOS into BOS would occur 62% of the time, BOS into CHOCH would occur 38% of the time, CHOCH into BOS formed 71% of the time, CHOCH into CHOCH only 29% of the time. Nonetheless, these results are good because it's giving you a bias of 66%, which is exactly 2/3 of the trades. Even though it's only out of 123 in this format, 2/3 chance of getting the direction correct is a very, very good statistic for trading. And now here are the results from the rule change which we made in FTR to pull away from SMC and do things our own way based on statistics. Even though there are more trades available, which is good for the mathematics on this, let's just go through some of the differences. The total number of trades were 165, total BOS 133, total CHOCH just 32. Now that means that we've got 81% chance of BOS. That is 4 out of 5 times rather than 2 out of 3 of getting the direction of the market correctly, which means that the trades that we're getting into, we have a lot more confidence than standard SMC traders in getting the direction correct. Now, I just want to point out one particular stat which has really made a hell of a difference to us, and that is CHOCH into BOS. So when we do get CHOCH confirmed, what is the percentage chance that we're going to get a slight pullback and then a continuation again? It is 94%. Okay, a 94% chance of being correct in our direction. Okay, so that statistic in itself, if we get CHOCH, okay, so if we get this structure occur, we know that we've got a 94% chance that the market is going to pull back and then continue in that direction. Now, if this video has been helpful and you like how we trade at FTR, literally join us. The link is below. I trade in the group. We have several trainers in the group as well to help you along on your trading journey. And you're gonna want to subscribe because the next video is gonna be on where to use BOS and CHOCH to make it most effective, because we have several rules to improve on these results also and to get more than standard SMC rules in your trading year on year. See you in the next one.